Are you moving to Phoenix, Arizona, and you are wondering what it's going to be like living in North Scottsdale? Well, I don't live in North Scottsdale. I'm very new to Arizona, but I spent the day with my wife going out to check out open houses just to gain access to some of these neighborhoods, because a lot of the neighborhoods in North Scottsdale are gated. So going out when there are open houses was a perfect opportunity for me to meet people, meet agents, as well as see the neighborhoods that are gated. So this video will be about all the things that I saw while I was out there checking out open houses in North Scottsdale. When I did my research about North Scottsdale, there were two neighborhoods that stuck out from people I spoke to, as well as articles I read on the internet. One neighborhood was DC Ranch. I keep hearing everyone talk about DC Ranch, so I wanted to go ahead and see what that neighborhood is about. The second neighborhood was Troon, which is another gated community within North Scottsdale. So the day I actually went out, there were open houses in both of these neighborhoods. But the first neighborhood I went to was a little unexpected. We just saw an open house sign and we went in and took a look at it. Now the neighborhood was called Ironwood. Talking to the agents, what I learned about Ironwood, it's actually part of the overall area of DC Ranch. Now, don't get confused. So DC Ranch, I've noticed, is like an area within North Scottsdale, but it's also a gated community within North Scottsdale. But within the area of DC Ranch is this neighborhood called Ironwood. Now, a lot of people like being in Ironwood because it's very close and within DC Ranch. So you got all the shopping, all the not all the amenities, but you know, you get to rub shoulders with a lot of the people in DC Ranch. And I'll get into that a little later. But Ironwood, the reason why people are living there or wanting to move there is because not only the proximity to DC Ranch, but the HOA dues for Ironwood are significantly less than DC Ranch. So that's why a lot of the people who do want to live in DC Ranch but do not want to pay the high ticket prices of living there, check out Ironwood. It's right below DC Ranch. I think you'll like it. Now, the second area we did go to was DC Ranch. DC Ranch is known for high luxury. You know, the houses are beautiful. You're gonna rub shoulders with celebrities, with wealthy people, with movie stars, whatever you can think of. You know, that's where you're gonna find them. So that's the draw for people who want to live in DC Ranch. Also, you know, they got great walking paths. You're kind of out there away from Phoenix, but you're also close enough to get into Phoenix within about 20 minutes. The only thing I did not like about DC Ranch was it seemed too congested. It just seemed like, well, the roads were very narrow. There were a lot of roundabouts. It did help with getting around the neighborhood, but just remember, DC Ranch is a very highly desirable neighborhood because it is gated, it is secure, and it's very close to shopping, restaurants, some of the best in Arizona. You even have Westworld, which is right down the road, where my wife and I love to go and watch some horse shows. They have all kinds of events and expos going on over there. You also have the TPC golf course where you have the waste management event, the PGA event, which is a blast. We have not gone yet, but it's one of the things to do while living in Arizona. Now, the third neighborhood that we did go to was called Troon. Now, Troon is a little further north in North Scottsdale, but if you want to be very secluded and away from all the noise, all the traffic, it actually turns into one-lane roads as you're approaching Troon, and they're kind of amongst some mountainous terrain. So if you want to be closer to some of the hikes and stuff, Troon will be the place to be. As we're going through Troon, we did notice some of the homes were actually very close together, but the further in we went, the more spread out, the bigger the houses were getting. But one thing I did notice about Troon was that they didn't have a lot of street parking, or nobody was parked on the street actually. So if you're gonna want a community where you're allowed to park on the streets, Troon may not be the place you want to go, but it's definitely a place to see if you're looking for seclusion, if you're looking to get away from the city but also be very close to it. Troon is a beautiful place, and you'll see from the videos of the house we saw in Troon, it's just spectacular. Now, as I was going through North Scottsdale, and I talked to some of the people who live there, some of the agents. At one point, this part of Scottsdale was very hard to get to. It was out of the way. you know, from the city. You had to go through a lot of desert just to get to this area of North Scottsdale. But ever since they built the 101, which is the Loop 101 freeway in Arizona, it's made all of this very accessible. But as you drive through the neighborhoods, you are gonna notice that it's very wide open. There's still a lot of open space out there, still a lot of land, a lot of desert landscape. When I'm going through North Scottsdale, you see a lot more saguaro cactus. I mean, you see them everywhere in Arizona, but it's more prevalent within North Scottsdale. So if you're wanting that type of landscape, North Scottsdale is beautiful for that. My wife and I noticed that not just the landscape, but the architecture that they build out there really does blend in with the landscape. So that's another thing. All of the communities in North Scottsdale do have walking paths, and a lot of their walking paths are rough, meaning they're not like paved walking paths. A lot of them resemble hiking trails. They're dirt gravel paths, very quiet. I walked through a few of them, but that is another great amenity that they have within this area, Scottsdale. So I hope that helped with you making a decision about North Scottsdale. Now, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking for more tips on moving and living in Arizona, check out this playlist. And if we haven't met, my name is Mana with Loan Depot, helping you achieve home ownership with Aloha.